Hello, welcome to the first ever episode of Dear Future Me. Also, the microphone is off because I feel the audio is a lot better without the microphone, but I'm keeping it because I do like a good microphone moment, okay? I think the whole point of this is it's a video diary for future me coming from me now, but it's meant for future me to look back at her present self. Do you know what I mean? I don't even fucking know what I'm saying. Anyway, I've been wanting to do this because I talked to my psychologist about this and I was like, look, I know that when you are depressed, you go through it alone and it feels like you're so alone, but in reality, we're not alone. Like in reality, there's so many people who understand where you're coming from, or they do need the advice about a certain situation that you've already moved on from. So anyway, this is a podcast for me and only me, but I did think it was important to share because one of my tarot lady, she was like, you're gonna have a big platform, so I'll take it as a sign. Okay, so the big question is, why am I fucking depressed? I think breakups suck, especially when you're a bit older than most people when they have their first heartbreak. I feel like a normal age to have a heartbreak, again, if you have a heartbreak at this certain age, that does not mean you're not normal, okay? I'm just saying most people have it between, I would say, 16 and 20. I'm 26 and I've just had my biggest heartbreak with the love of my life. The man that I thought I was going to marry, the man who I thought I was going to give babies, because in reality, I've never wanted any of those things. I never wanted to have kids. I never wanted to get married. And it truly was the most perfect relationship. I truly think that I still do think we had a perfect relationship. I just think because I'm a very anxious person and he's a very avoidant person, I think it just started clashing, you know? Do I think it could have been fixed? Absolutely. I do think it could have been fixed easily if we actually just sat down and listened and communicated properly. I feel like that's something we never really did, because I was so anxious to have those conversations, because I also think it's the way I grew up. Like, I've always hated when people yelled at me, and I've always been very used to the fact that if I do something wrong, someone's gonna yell at me. And like something, for example, my ex really missed in a relationship is a fighting or discussions, because whenever there would be a discussion, I would quickly be like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, I would just push it off and be like, yeah, you're right. Like, oh, I want to go, like, he wants to go there and I actually don't want to go there. But I'll be the person to be like, yeah, let's go there, because I know you want to go there. And it's just like something I really do, because I'm so afraid of having discussions. I'm so afraid of a person leaving me. And I think because of that, I think a lot went wrong. But I also think like he, well, quite frankly, should have opened his mouth more and tried to communicate with me on that. I also think that he should have, again, there's many things that I could have fixed, but I also feel like there's so much that he could have done to help me. Like, for example, going with me to therapy. If he would have come to therapy and explained to my psychologist, like, hey, this is what I'm missing, this is what I don't understand, I feel like it would have helped me so much more. I would, if I could go back, no, you know what? I don't have to go back. If we do ever get another shot at this relationship, I would never redo what I did. I would also not take the shit that I've had dealt with. I think it's interesting to see how we all want communication, and I've always preached it, and everyone's like, oh, you need communication, but I feel like you don't need communication, you need understanding and someone who actually listens. It's good to know how to communicate, but I also think it's important to know how to understand and really understand and listen, not just, you know, really be there in the present moment and actually like, hey, this is, I feel like if I ever end up being in a next relationship, which I do hope, because I am a lover girl, okay? Siri, play Madison Be a Lover Girl. If it's with him or with someone else, hopefully him. You know, that is something that I'm taking to the future. Like, you know, really being in that present moment and really being like, okay, here's how I'm seeing it, here's how I'm perceiving this situation, this is how it's making me feel. Is that how you meant for it to come across? Is that what do you think of this? How does it make you feel that I feel like this? How do we yeah, I know if you would have told me that months ago I would be open to someone else. When I went to Barcelona, I saw this crystal shop, and it just, something in me said you need to go in, because she did a tarot reading, and I was like, I need to go in, I need to go do that.
I'm going to count to 10, text my therapist, and try and have a great day.
And it was so insanely accurate, that reading. Okay, I'm not going to go into details, but the universe did say like that was not your person, that was not your soulmate, and that was like a really eye-opener for me. I do believe that he was my soulmate and my person. I don't think he is my soulmate for the person who I am today. I don't think he's the person for me in the future, as long as he doesn't change. I think if he would change, he would definitely be my person. But I think as for now, a quote that I really like is, the old him would love the new me, but the new me doesn't like him. Like, this video is all over the place. I'm so sorry for that. I promise you I'm gonna be more prepared for episode 2, but I'm making, like, this is a video diary for me, like future me, so I feel like it doesn't have to be perfect, like it just needs to be authentically me. One thing I like to say is,
The day he left me was the day that I died.
But then I was really born
As a witch.
and I really was. I gave my life to witchcraft and spirituality. I said that so weirdly. It doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, I've never felt more connected to anything else. I completely forgot that I used to be able to manifest things in the universe, but now I'm really into it, and I feel like it did save my life in a lot of ways. I promised myself I wasn't gonna cry, but I already feel like I'm gonna cry, so anyway, I'm already gonna cry. My relationship of 3.5 ended, and my whole world just ended. It still feels like it sometimes. I feel like I've already healed a lot, but we're gonna go through a healing process. Breakup sucks, especially when it's with the love of your life, even if he really is the love of your life, or he's not. It doesn't even fucking matter. Like, a breakup with someone who you've been with for years sucks. Like, I feel like it was so much more than like he was my everything. If I could go back in time, like literally like January, and you would be, no, not maybe a little earlier, tell me like, hey, you're gonna, you know, lose everything in your life, and you're gonna lose the love of your life, I would have probably hit you in the face and told you to shut the fuck up and never tell me something so absurd.
Bitch! No, you're not gonna call me no bitch, 'cause I'm not none of these, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I'm not.
But here I am now, making this video, so it wasn't that absurd, I guess. It bothers me that I'm not in the fucking middle of this video. It doesn't fucking matter, I don't need it. I'm not a bitch. I think we had the most amazing relationship ever, and I think we were such a perfect couple, and besides some things that we wanted different in life, I still think to this day that we truly were and are, well, we were, because we've broken up, but we truly were the best couple ever. Like, why did it go wrong? I think I'm a very anxious person, and he's a very avoidant person. And there's this interesting podcast I've watched about 2 people coming together, that one of them has an anxious style and the other one is avoidant. I'm gonna read it to you. Anxiously attached partners who don't believe their way of love, and they try to please other people to make them happy, no boundaries whatsoever, and they do 10 nice things for you, hoping that you'll do 1 nice thing to them. And they're terrified of abandonment, or even the hint of abandonment. Connecting to people who are avoidantly attached, who don't believe anyone else will ever be honest or loyal to them, so they don't have any strings attached or expectations, and they want to be free but have an exchange of dopamine back and forth, and they need to be able to walk at any moment notice. And they value space and independence, and these 2 people will get together, and it's incredible until it begins to fall apart. And I do agree with that. Like, I think my relationship with him was so amazing but he is very avoidant. And I do also know where it comes from. Like, the avoidant person starts to say, wow, I need a little bit of space, but they don't say it. They don't communicate it, because the person will turn on them if they say it. So they start withdrawing quite quietly. And the anxious person says, oh no, like hypervigilance, you're withdrawing from me. And that means I did something wrong, or you're abandoning me. I need to crack it up through the roof and cling as hard as possible. So it creates this horrible push, pull, run, chase dynamic. I feel like it sums it up so much, because indeed he was pulling away, he was ignoring me, he was not communicating with me, while I really needed that. Like, I needed him to sit down with me, and I needed him to explain what was going on. And I feel like because he was pulling away so much, I was like, oh my god, like, love my life, leave me, and I can't do this, like, I'm having an error. But I also think my anxious thoughts that I have because of the way I grew up, because of my family, you know, like my situation and all. Again, I can talk about myself, okay? Even though I know where he's coming from, like, I could tell you so many details and you would be like, yeah, that's avoidant because of that. But I don't want to do that to him, because again, I respect him, and I also feel like it's none of your business. You know, it's a future me thing. I'm working through my depression, so this video is for me. So anyway, I think the way I grew up, I've been kind of on my own forever. For as long as I can remember, I've always kind of been on my own. I've always had to raise myself, and so interesting to see that the way you grew up is the way you're gonna, like, because there's attachment styles that you can create. Obviously, I created an anxious of being like, oh, I've always been so alone that I've like always looked forward having a partner that I can like do everything with, because I wanted that so badly. And when I found that in my ex, it was just kind of a click of like, oh my god, I found my person, because that is something I've always wanted, right? Like, I've always wanted someone that was going to be there for me, and that was gonna, you know, everything that I've missed out on in my youth, I wanted in my partner. It's like traveling, right? I've always said I wanted to see the world, but I've never really wanted to see the world alone. I've always wanted to see the world with my partner, which, thanks to my ex, like, I've seen a big part of the world, but it's just like, it's something I've really been craving and been wanting. Now that he's gone, like, I feel like I do really want to travel the world, but it's just, again, like I said, it's an interest that I don't have alone. Now I have to do it alone, because I did go on a little vacation to Barcelona. I do hope we get a shot one day again to fix it. So yeah, I do hope that. Okay, I'm just a girl, okay? I'm still loving my ex. What do you want from me? Do you want to call the police? Go for it. I'm still loving my ex, okay? I've got the handcuffs right there. Don't worry, I'm not showing them. They're fluffy. I feel like from like New Christmas until March, it was just like kind of that like push and run and pull and chase dynamic of, I need you to help me understand what's going on. Because like, again, I'm an overthinker. I'm a chronic overthinker. When I start like to overthink, I feel like my brain just takes over. Even though right now I've really, one of my favorite quotes ever, there's two quotes that as an overthinker I really appreciate now, and the first one is, be the loudest voice in your minds. We tend to get carried away, and it's just like, it's like the same thing as like, oh, we haven't spoken in months, right? And your first instinct as a human is like saying, oh, he doesn't reach out, so he's not missing me. And like, your whole brain is going into overdrive, when in reality you don't know shit. You don't know anything that's going on. There's so many things I've learned yesterday about my ex that I didn't even know. And like, I also talked with my psychologist about this. I was like, it's so fucking strange that like, as a human, we put these thoughts in our brains, right? We're like overdriving. Like, you're going into overdriving, you're like, oh my god, they're not thinking about me, they're not loving me, why aren't they reaching out to me? Like, obviously I need to go text them. And it's like, hold on, because that is one thing that I've had to go through. When we had a little break of 2 weeks, I hate thinking about it. We had this little break of 2 weeks, and in my mind, I think that was like the dumbest thing I've ever done. so important to forgive yourself, okay? Like you need to forgive yourself. But like, it's so hard knowing that it's so hard knowing that like those 2 weeks that like my brain was constantly in overdrive and it was constantly overthinking. Like I had no one to talk to. Like all I needed was him to sit down with me and tell me like it's gonna be fine, like stop overthinking. Obviously that wasn't happening because he's an avoidant, I'm an anxiously person. Looking back at it now, months later, all I had to do was sit down and tell my fucking mind to shut the fuck up, stop texting him all the time, stop making everything worse. Because I like, he did tell me like those 2 weeks that we were on a break, I kind of ruined the whole thing. Like it would have been like I think the worst part is that like he told me like, yeah, if you didn't do that, it would have been a whole different story. And it's so true. Obviously I get upset about it, but it's just like, just knowing that like I could have saved that relationship if I like stopped being so over dramatic, and overthinking is like an insane thing. And even though I always preach like you need to heal, you need to forgive yourself, I feel like that is still something that I've been working on. But yeah, forgive yourself. What the fuck was I even talking about? Bully your adults, bully them. It's also important to go through the emotions. I do think you need to have gone through a few emotions before you can actually tell your mind to shut the fuck up. Here's the thing, what I did. I really hope no one of my family ever watches this because it's going to be very awkward to explain. I had a substance abuse, okay? When I feel like the people who know me in real life know that I like to smoke a blunt now and then, okay? Super girl, okay? I feel like when we broke up, I needed something stronger, okay? I needed to just like, because here's the thing, I was in such a bad place and I had this full-on eating disorder, okay? I wasn't eating anymore. It was my body was giving up. Like I could feel it that I was no longer living. Also, most of the time I wear baggy clothing, so no one could really see what was going on. But you know, when the bones start sticking out of your face, it's very hard to, you know, hide them. I started doing drugs a lot more than I used to do. So it started with edibles. You know, a half became 1, and then 1 became 2, and then 2 became in the morning instead of only in the night, and then the morning, noon, night, and then I started being high 24/7. I shouldn't be laughing this. Please do not do drugs, guys. Please do not do drugs.
Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help.
However, a very unethical way of, you know, getting better from an eating disorder is being high. Because the fact that I had so many, like I had munchies throughout the whole day. Did I want to eat? No, but I was so fucking hungry. So in a way, I'm kind of thing, which is very weird to say, okay? Again, please do not do drugs. I also think with my substance abuse and the drugs that I did, because again, I was high all the time, I did not go through the grief as I should have gone through it, because it was pushing it away. Do you know what I mean? Like it was weeks, and I didn't start the recovery until even later, and I think that made it so much fucking harder. But I'm very grateful for doing it because it did save me. I did gain a few pounds, I think, a few. But again, I do think that having an eating disorder, it's a mentality that never goes away, because it's been so hard on me. Like I've been talking to my friends, I feel so bad in my body right now, especially with my mentality. As someone who has an eating disorder, it's like I've never felt more fat in my life. Yeah, I'm at this point, I'm like working out twice a day to lose the fat, because it's been so hard on me. Okay, Anyway, we weren't even fucking talking about it. We were talking about bully your fucking thoughts. Bully them. As soon as you feel like a negative thought coming up. Negative thought I've had a lot has been he doesn't miss me because he's not texting me. I don't know anything was going on. Okay, I do not know. Obviously, now I know that he does miss me. Okay, but that's a story for another time. That was a thought that I've been going through so much. I think maybe 20 times a fucking day. I was telling myself, oh, he's not texting me. There's no sign of the universe. Because again, very spiritual. So I've been talking to the universe. I've been doing witchcraft. I've been doing everything. But there's no signs. Okay, there's no fucking signs. So my mind immediately goes into like this fall of like, oh, he doesn't miss you. Like, I feel like lately I've been kind of yelling at myself, and you should say it out loud. So there's 3 things I feel like that work really well. One thing that you can do is just yell at your brain. Just be the loudest voice in your mind, because again, your mind is something that like you've made up. So just bully it, be mean to yourself. Sometimes it is necessary to look at yourself in the fucking mirror and be like, you're fucking dumb fucking bitch, stop saying bullshit. So I have been telling myself that a lot, and I feel like the more you do it, the more like you repeat it, and it's very repetitive in your mind. Like it just works wonders. Because again, your brain cannot do so many things at the same time. It can't start overthinking if you're going to do something else. If your hobbies are not working, because like I love diamond painting, okay, I started doing it to help me with overthinking, but I feel like sometimes it's just not enough to stop overthinking. Start spelling things. Cup, C-U-P, red, R-E-D, setting spray, S-E-T-T-I-N-G-S-P-R. Start spelling shit. I think the worst part of having lost myself in a relationship, or not necessarily having lost myself in a relationship, I just didn't know who I was anymore. I think the worst part with that being mixed with being an anxious person who's like, oh my god, my partner is leaving me. Yeah, like I had to do it all alone. I had to rediscover myself. I had to re-find myself. I had to figure out what do I actually like. Like one of the things that I found hardest to do was making a list of things I liked about myself. I feel like every single list I have made wasn't as hard as making a list of what do I like about myself? Who am I? I feel like that was so hard for me to do. And I do love so much about me, which is insane, right? But when I have to write it down, it's just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who she is. I feel like that it was very hard, knowing who I was without him. Because I still look back at that relationship. I think that's why I'm still so upset. Is I still look back at the relationship and realize like, oh, we had such a beautiful relationship. I think it's important to ask yourself a question like, do I really miss him, or do I miss who I was with him? Even though I look a lot more happy, there's still so many things that I still haven't figured out yet. Okay, so I started this thing where I have to go take myself on dates or do things I don't necessarily want to do, like go to a concert alone, which I did, and I was very frightened, okay, but I had the best time of my fucking life. Medicine Beer, oh my god. A book that I've really liked is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I really recommend it. This book truly has changed my life. It has given me insights that I've never even knew about the human brain, and I think the human brain is so interesting, and I also think that the universe is an interesting thing, and you really can make your own life and your own reality. The only thing you have to do is change your personality, because in order to change your reality, you do have to change personalities. I recommend that book. And then the second book I really recommend is Activate Your Future Self by Minnie Bouchard. I would recommend this book. So the Joe Dispenza book, if you want to get into meditation, I would recommend that one, because it does revolve a lot around meditation. If you're like me and you're struggling a bit and you're a bit more like of a visualizer, I would recommend the other book. Also, quick disclaimer of these videos. I'm making these videos for me, for future me. So yeah, keep that in mind, that these videos are for me, not for you. I'm just making them public so that you know, people who might go through what I'm going through, don't feel as alone, because sometimes in life you can feel really lonely when you're not, and all you sometimes have to do is just talk to people, you know. So that's why I'm uploading the video. So, but again, these videos are for me, for future me, to me, okay? Also, another disclaimer. My ex-boyfriend was truly the most amazing person I've ever known. Still is to this day. He does have his dark side, and he's been through a lot himself. And now that I've grown a lot, I've realized more than, you know, I've had so many realizations. I still love that person so fucking much. But yeah, even if I might say he did this wrong, there will always be a lot of love, okay? So I think that's like an important thing to say. I am happy. I am so happy everything is working out. I am truly looking back at an awful time and realizing how much growth I've had since then. And life has been amazing, and I love life. These are affirmations, by the way, you little bitches, in case you didn't fucking know. Anyway, I just love life. I love being super famous, super rich, having a hot boyfriend who's 6'3" on a good day, on a bad day, and has a never mind. Anyway, I'll see you all next time.
You've reached the number you have dialed. Please leave a message.